Hey, it's Adam Bartholomew with Moorfield Real Estate. We're back in beautiful Tarboro at 124 Austin Lane. Beautiful view, creek behind us, beautiful weather, sun shining all on Mr. Jablonski.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you having me here today. It's a little bit warm, but I think we can handle it.
Yes, sir. Well, at least it ain't raining.
That's true. That's true. You know what else is hot, though, is the real estate market right now.
Yes, sir. Thank God.
Well, I'll tell you, you're doing a lot of contracts. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Well, the kids are grateful for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Family and all, but I got Mr. Jablonski here again. We're talking about what happens after we get a signed contract. Once I receive that, I'm going to email Mr. Jablonski and say, hey, congratulations.
And I'm
You
going to
got
say,
a job.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I still got a job. The borrowers still want to work with me even after the pre-qualification process. That's a good thing. No, I get a contract, and thank you, Adam. I appreciate you sending it to me. And hopefully these are borrowers I've already started working with, right?
Yes,
The pre-qualification process, we've already pulled their credit report. I've already given you a letter saying they're pre-qualified, and they've told me the information they need to tell me, okay? So you give me the contract. The first thing I'm going to do is turn that qualification into a full loan, okay? Now that we got a property, we've got a loan. By law, we got a loan now, so it's an official loan. I'll key it in, I'll verify the address, all that good stuff. And then the first thing I'm going to do is order the appraisal. I've got to order the appraisal to make sure that we can get that appraisal back in time so we don't delay the closing. The appraisal, if there's one thing that delays it, is the appraisal. The appraisal process, 7, 10, 8, 7, 10, whatever, however long it takes, I want to make sure we give them plenty of time.
Yes, sir.
All right, so at that point, the borrower is going to sign disclosures. Okay, I'm going to produce a bunch of items based on the loan they told me they want, the structure they want, and they're going to come in, and it's going to look a lot like the paperwork that they signed at closing, but it's called the initial disclosure set. It needs to happen within 3 days of the contract. They can either e-disclose or they can sign it in person. I prefer in person, especially if they're first-time home buyers, so I can go through step by step and tell them what's going on. That's important. And then we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about a list of things I need. If I haven't already talked about that, hopefully in the qualification process, early on, I'm going to talk about it right then, and we're going to go over everything I need to verify and document everything they told me in the qualification process. So it's like income and assets, income and bank accounts. I'm going to get pay stubs, I'm going to get W-2s. If they're self-employed, I'm going to get tax returns. And then if they're going to put money into it, I'm going to get copies of bank statements. And I'm going to put all of those disclosures they signed along with the documents they gave me, and I'm going to send it to a processor, and that processor is going to kind of be my backstop. They're going to make sure I haven't forgotten anything, because we need to have a nice package early in the process to send to an underwriter. The underwriter is the person who actually approves the loan. Now, hopefully by then, remember that appraisal?
Yes, sir.
That appraisal comes back. By the way, that appraisal is owned by the borrower. They own it. I may get some money up front for the appraisal. That's the only money I'll ask for at the front end of the process, but they own it. They'll get a copy of it. We'll have a copy of the appraisal in the package. The underwriter's going to look at the appraisal and all that documentation I told you about, and they're going to come back and say, hey, everything looks good based on the program and the loan structure that you wanted and the loan product, and so we're good to go. Or, as happens a lot of times, it comes back with something called conditions, where there might be might need to have something like a letter of explanation. Might need to have another bank statement because one dropped and now we have another 30 days. Just keep everything up to date. Exactly right. But once we resolve all those things, we should have plenty of time between when we're good and we're fully approved and the closing date. Now, the only way that happens.
How important it is for them to get that information.
That's what I was just about to say. The earlier the borrower gets that information to me, the sooner we can send it to underwriting, and the sooner we can deal with any issues that come up in the underwriting process, so we have plenty of time to deal with it before the closing date. There's nothing like having to deal with issues.
Oh, man.
3 days before closing.
We don't need that.
We don't need that. We don't want that.
We want a smooth process from day one all the way to closing.
So pretend we got all the conditions approved. Hopefully I've sent in a really good package where we got very few things, if any, that are needed. That's my goal. So I can call the borrower and say, here, we're approved. I said, Adam, we got an approved loan. We just need to wait for closing.
Woo!
I love it. Hey, we're not closed yet.
Oh,
hold on. We got to go through the process called the closing disclosure. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to email the borrower and something called an initial closing disclosure. It's going to look a lot like something they saw at the beginning of the loan process called a loan estimate. Don't worry about all those mortgage terms. Just know that the sooner we sign that, the sooner we can start talking to the attorney to get all the paperwork back and forth and all the bills that you spend for inspections and things, all included in the cost. All right. And then as soon as we've got that all done, we've got something called a final closing disclosure. That will have all of the bills, all of the expenses, where the loan amount goes, how much they're bringing to the closing, how much is down payment, how much are they going to pay for closing costs, how much the seller might pay for closing costs. Everything's on that closing
No hidden
disclosure.
fees.
No hidden. No. I'll tell you what I do. I create two columns. I create two columns for the borrower. I say, here's one column. Here's what I said at the beginning of what's going to cost. And then a second column says, here's what it's going to actually cost based on the closing disclosure, the final closing disclosure.
Okay.
Here's what's different and why. Why do I do that? Because you don't want our borrowers getting to the closing table surprised.
Oh, wait.
No. I'm going to talk to them about if anything's different. Why? Sometimes I'm off on taxes. Sometimes I'm off on homeowners insurance. You know, might be a little thing here or there. Sometimes attorneys charge more than I thought they would. That always happens, you know. Nothing against attorneys, but there are going to be a few things that are going to be off here or there. Everything I've done is an estimate, and then the final closing disclosure, and I compare it. Usually I'm pretty close. All right? Guess what? Now we can close.
Woohoo!
But wait, you're going to do something first, aren't you?
I'm going to meet the buyer at the property.
Okay.
We're going to do a final walkthrough. Then I'm going to say, Mr. Jablonski, we're heading to closing. Get your champagne ready.
Oh, right. And I'll meet you there.
That's right. Then we meet together, sit
Right.
down at the table,
Right?
sign everything, and by that time, the buyer will already know what they're signing. There's not
Exactly.
going to be any surprises in. That's kind of the finish line. So once we jump across that finish line, they'll hand the keys over, and then we shake hands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I say, let's do this again.
That's right. Then it goes over and over and over.
Exactly.
Well, I'm Adam Bartholomew with Moorfield Real Estate. My number is 252-544-1031. Mr. Jablonski, how do we get in touch?
Mike Jablonski with Prime Lending, 252-292-8362. I'd love to help you.
Thank you so much.